Goku is a man of many techniques and surprises. We've seen him grow from a scrappy little kid in Dragon Ball into a powerful adult in Dragon Ball Z, then back into a child in GT, and then back into an adult again in GT and Super. No matter the show, movie, or saga, Goku is constantly surprising us with new and amazing abilities. It's difficult to keep track of everything this guy can do, so here are a few that you and probably a lot of Z fighters don't know about. But first, it's always a good idea to subscribe and enable notifications. That way you can be the first to see all of the coolest new content that CBR has to offer.
Wait, I've heard of this technique. Right now he's gathering all of the latent energy in his body. Then he's going to release it all at once.
Mimicry. Goku may not be the brightest crayon in the box, but man is he a quick learner. Goku has a power that's not often discussed, and that is his ability to learn a new technique after seeing it only one time. There are other fighters who have been known to do this as well. Vegeta learns from the Z fighters how to sense someone's ki without using a scouter. Chaozu learns how to self-destruct when he sees the Cybermen use the technique, and Frieza steals Krillin's trademark Destructo Disc move. Even Goku Black uses mimicry in Dragon Ball Super. You might think that Cell does the same thing, but remember, he has to absorb fighters to learn their skills. Sure, it's impressive that others can do it too, but Goku has been using mimicry ever since he was a little tyke in the original Dragon Ball.
Huh? You mean you can really do that?
In fact, he learns the legendary Kamehameha wave mere seconds after watching Master Roshi perform the move that took him 50 years to develop. But that's not all he learns from Roshi. He learns the drunken boxing fighting style and his after-image move, then puts them to use in the World Martial Arts Tournament. Super senses. Part of what makes Goku such a formidable opponent is his heightened senses. He uses his gift of sight to see and anticipate movement, giving him incredible reflexes. He also has super hearing, which gives him an edge while fighting in the dark, although he might not even need enhanced hearing, as he has a sixth sense for detecting where someone is by feeling for their energy. While not typically useful in a fight scenario, Goku additionally has a heightened sense of smell. Unsurprisingly, being the gluttonous Saiyan that he is, he mostly uses this super ability to find food, but he has been known to use it on other occasions.
Now you boys have one more task to perform before we go inside to that wonderful smelling supper.
While he and Krillin are training with Master Roshi in Dragon Ball, Roshi throws a stone into the forest and tasks them with finding it. Goku later turns up with the stone, saying he was able to find it because it smelled like Master Roshi.
It smells like Master Roshi. What are you, a dog?
Of course, in this situation, he was still motivated by food because the one who didn't find the rock would have to go without supper. So technically, he still used his power of heightened smell for food. But hey, that's Goku for you.
Me try!
Invisible Eye Blast. It's not as flashy as Superman's heat vision, but it's still crazy awesome.
Kill Martha!
Imagine just being able to look at something and willing it to explode. I'm not sure when it would ever become useful in your daily lives, but knowing you have the power to do it would be cool enough. Maybe you could use it to kill bugs in your house, although that might get a bit messy. Goku hasn't had much use for it in battle, but we've seen the Supreme Kai and Majin Buu both use it. Actually, the Supreme Kai uses it on Buu to stun him, and he uses it on Buu's energy blast to save Gohan. Majin Buu sees the technique and then uses his ability of mimicry to learn the Invisible Eye Blast as well, using it to send the Supreme Kai flying. Goku, on the other hand, hasn't really used it for much. He did use it once on Namek to dig up a grave for Vegeta, but could have just as easily used an energy blast. The other time he uses it is in GT against Omega Shenron. He only used it, though, to show off his new power as a Super Saiyan 4 by halting Shenron's movement a few times.
Don't speak. This'll be a lot faster. Just relax.
Telepathy. Another superpower rendered useless by cell phones. Okay, maybe not completely, but it is going the way of the floppy disk. Using telepathy, Goku's been able to communicate with various Z fighters in times of need. He uses it with Krillin to stop him from killing Vegeta, and he uses it while Gohan is in his Grade 8 form to help him target Vegeta. He also uses telepathy to actually read Krillin's mind. Upon finishing his training and meeting up with Gohan and Krillin on Namek, Goku is a little behind on the events that transpired while he was away.
I don't know where to begin. It's been crazy here.
So rather than sit and wait for Krillin to explain, he decides to place a hand on his head and read his mind. He explains that no one actually taught him the technique, he just sort of learned how to do it after finishing his training.
That was my first time. It's weird. I finished my training program on the ship and something happened.
We see Master Roshi, Piccolo, and King Kai all use telepathy, so it is possible that he was able to pick it up from one of them, but we'll never really know. It wasn't the first technique he randomly figured out how to do, and judging by the goings-on in Dragon Ball Super, it won't be the last.
The others may not have seen the power behind that attack, but you do not deceive my eyes.
Energy shield, instant transmission, Kamehameha, spirit bomb, these are all techniques that Goku learned from others. But he's no stranger to developing his own techniques as well. After all, he's the first one of the group that learns how to go Super Saiyan. He's also the first character to be seen using an energy shield. Key users are the only ones who can create force fields, and the strength of their shield depends on their mastery of ki, and sometimes their power. Broly, for instance, was able to create an energy shield, and the shield was so strong that it withstood the force of an exploding planet. Goku hasn't used the technique recently, but seeing as how he can become a god now, his shield is bound to be able to withstand the force of 1,000,000 exploding planets. There are a couple of times we actually get to see him use the energy shield. He uses it in Dragon Ball when he was protecting himself from King Piccolo while charging up a one-handed Kamehameha. He also uses an energy shield to protect himself from attacks in the Tree of Might movie.
More, please.
Okay.
Bottomless stomach. Speaking of food, Goku sure eats a lot of it. To be fair, he does train constantly under immense conditions, and if he's not training, he's fighting to save the world, so he must need to consume quite a few calories. But this guy takes it to an otherworldly level. Of course, he is a Saiyan, and his other Saiyan friends and family do pretty much the same amount of eating. But man, is it a sight to behold. It's a running joke throughout the series about how much these guys can eat, and it never gets less astonishing watching the bowls and plates stack up higher and higher.
Watch your fingers!
Goku can eat pounds and pounds of food and yet never gain any weight. It's unknown just how many calories he consumes, but even if he was burning more calories than taking them in, you would think he would at least get bloated every now and again. But no, Goku keeps the same 12-pack of abs no matter how much he eats. The only explanation is that he, along with the other Saiyans, have bottomless stomachs or some kind of hypermetabolism. Now that is a superpower everyone wants. It's right up there with flight and shooting lasers out of your eyes.
Mr. Goku, stop that!
There's no need to worry. I feel fine.
Telekinesis. This power is used often and by many characters in the DBZ universe, but no one ever seems to give it a name. It almost seems like a natural technique that's learned once you gain a certain amount of power. Most of the time, it's used by villains, like when Frieza lifts Krillin into the air, when Cell lifts an entire landmass into the air, and when Majin Buu uses it to float people turned candy directly into his mouth. Other characters, such as the Kais, have been known to use it as well, and even Vegeta and Goku have learned to use this technique. But as always with Goku, he'd rather use his fists in a fight than use telekinesis. In fact, Vegeta uses telekinesis against Goku in a fight, but apparently Goku doesn't see a use for it while fighting. The only time he actually uses the ability is while he's in the hospital and he lifts water out of a glass. So really, the only time he uses it is when he's stuck somewhere with nothing else to do. Think about that. Goku can use the freaking Force, but he only does it when he's bored.
Hey! Why don't we take a little break?
Increased lung capacity. As a Saiyan, Goku's able to survive things that us normal humans wouldn't stand a chance against. A big part of that is his super lung capacity. Goku's able to fight Beerus, the god of destruction, above the Earth's surface in the stratosphere. While he can't breathe in space, he's able to fight Beerus in space for a while. Of course, holding his breath in the vacuum of space is a feat of strength all on its own. Goku can also hold his breath underwater for quite some time. During his fight with Frieza, he's sent flying into the water, but rather than come up for air right away, he takes his time to plan his next attack strategy. While some of you might be able to hold your breath for a minute or so, try doing so during an intense fight against the supervillain. In addition to holding his breath, he can also use his powerful lungs to pull off evasive maneuvers. He can do what's called a mid-air stop, an ability separate from flying that allows him to use his breath as an explosive blast to slow his descent to the ground, allowing him to land safely.
I gave you some of my own energy. Go and do as you like with it.
Energy transferal. In a sort of method for healing, Goku can transfer his energy into someone else. This is another ability that Goku just sort of knows how to do. We see him use the ability on a couple of different occasions, most notably during his fight on Namek with Frieza. The fight was over and Goku was the reigning champion. Frieza was laying in pieces on the ground, struggling to survive. After being begged by Frieza to help him, Goku transfers some of his own energy into Frieza, giving him enough strength to move and hopefully escape the exploding planet. Goku is way too nice, but thankfully he doesn't only use the ability on his enemies. In the movie Cooler's Revenge, Cooler isn't too happy about his brother Frieza's fate, and he tries to get back at Goku. Amidst the fighting, a bird tragically dies, which sends Goku over the edge. He turns into a Super Saiyan, and holding the bird in his hand, he transfers his energy into the bird, bringing it back to life. As if transferring energy wasn't impressive enough, now he's bringing animals back from the dead.
Frieza's not going to be happy. At this rate, he'll never recover.
You'd think he'd try using that technique on a friend instead of just villains and the local fauna.
So a Super Saiyan who's as strong as a Super Saiyan God, yet is not a Super Saiyan God, is now the Super Saiyan version of that?
Regeneration. We all remember the first time we saw Piccolo sprout a new arm. It was pretty gross, but not a bad power to have. We learned recently that Goku could do the same thing. Sort of. In Dragon Ball Super, Goku fights Beerus using the borrowed strength of his fellow Saiyans to become a Super Saiyan God. During the battle, the God of Destruction punches a hole right through Goku's chest, making him fall lifelessly into the ocean. All hope seems lost, but Goku's wound remains aflame underneath the sea. Miraculously, the wound heals itself, and Goku emerges from the water more powerful than ever.
Honestly, it's hard to believe that was really you.
The Super Saiyan God form was short-lived, however, as shortly after discovering its existence, Goku and Vegeta made it a point to obtain the form, and while doing so, achieved a form even higher than God form, which is called Super Saiyan Blue.
I'm not sensing Goku at all anymore. It's like his energy just vanished.
That happened when he was a Super Saiyan God.
So far, there hasn't been a definitive scene that shows what the healing capabilities are of the Super Saiyan Blue form, but if it's more powerful than Super Saiyan God, you can be sure we'll find out in the future what Goku's really capable of. With Dragon Ball Super showing off all these new amazing transformations and abilities, there's no telling what Goku will come up with next. It's only a matter of time before he becomes the most powerful being in existence. If you could have one of Goku's superpowers, which one would it be? Let us know in the comments below. Show us some love by clicking that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to CBR for even more incredible content. Thanks for watching.